Hello all, James here. Now, normally when I do these videos, I have a not super specific sort of script, but I've got all the bullet points I want to hit before, that I've got to the right of me that I'll try and hit, so I've got all my thoughts in order. I've not done it this time because I've just had so much on. We did a show with Stevie, a special one regarding WrestleMania 41. Did another one with Dutch today, and now I'm just releasing this video to give just my thoughts, I guess, on the main event of WrestleMania 41. And how much, the more I learn about it, the more it bugged me. And something more specific than most has bugged me about this. So, first off, we have to talk about the main event. Now, a lot of people didn't like the match itself. I actually thought for the match itself, it was a throwback to like the early WrestleManias. I kept saying, Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior kind of thing. It was so slow, so sluggish in comparison to everything else that happened. But for me, I thought the match was fine and the crowd was going crazy, and that's really what matters. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about this dog shit finish that ended up sort of deciding the fates of Cody Rhodes and John Cena, which really, the more you think about it, the more it just makes my head explode. Now, one thing that I complained about with Stevie was the triple threat match with CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns regarding the amount of kickouts. It's just something I've never enjoyed, even at WrestleMania to a point, but that was just too egregious. And then Cody Rhodes and Cena start doing the same thing. The egregious kickouts of the Attitude Adjustment, or as we all prefer to remember it, the FU. But then I nearly called him Old Trafford. Travis Scott comes out. Here's where it just really fell off a cliff. Travis Scott's music, that terrible song that's been permeating WWE for weeks, he walks out. People are still cheering because, guess what? The only other time Travis Scott has done this entrance, he came out with, you know who, The Rock. So the reports I've got, and I've had more than one, is that the fans were still cheering when Travis Scott came out. And the reason they was because they thought The Rock was coming out as well. Dwayne Johnson, the final boss, and guess what? He didn't. That's what ruined it. I mean, you can argue whether it was stupid, all these attitude adjustments and everything we've seen in every other single match, and then all it took was one kick in the balls and a belt shot after kicking out of everything else to put Cody away. Now, that's something you can argue absolutely. For me, there's something just more annoying. Where was The Rock? Now, we researched this yesterday and today. I did, about where The Rock was. 2 days ago on Instagram, he posted a video saying that he was in Hawaii, how much he enjoys being in Hawaii, and he was driving down the roads wherever he was in Hawaii. And there was a video of him doing that. Now, Becky Lynch was asked, was she going to be at WrestleMania? And she said, no, of course I'm not. And then everybody sort of gets the idea, well, you must be, because you seem to be, the lady doth protest too much. It goes the same with like Jordan Grace, who did the same thing, I think, for the Royal Rumble. Oh, I'm visiting my mother. And then The Rock, for whatever reason, posts that he's in Hawaii. Now, The Rock was meant to be at WrestleMania. I don't know if you know this or not. I'm actually going to bring up the screen in a second to prove it. In fact, I'm going to just find it one sec. Here we go. This got down to the merchandise portion of WWE, their area, where it says T-shirts, and this is more than one person who's done this. Is finally The Rock has come back to Las Vegas. This was at the official fan access thing. I've just put The Rock WrestleMania T-shirt, so let me see if I can find others. There we go. There's another one. Finally, The Rock has come back to Las Vegas. I know I've seen other photos of it as well, but the fact is that I'm absolutely convinced that The Rock was meant to be at Las Vegas. So why wasn't he? Well, the reason this video is taking so long to come out is because The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, was going to be on the Pat McAfee show, and I was hoping Pat McAfee would ask why The Rock wasn't there. Now, I was trying to find the actual video of him speaking that, but I think like some WWE footage is playing over it, so I can't use it. But I'm going to give you the quote of what he said. I knew then, in fact, I might as well, because this is from forget it, I'll just read it. I knew then the best thing for the final boss is we've established this thing with Codys Soul. I don't want to be involved in that. Let the final boss step back into the shadows. Let all the spotlight go to John and Cody, not make it about Codys Soul or John Soul. Let them do what they do. Straight away, You made it about Codys Soul, Dwayne. I mean, it was. I'm presuming it was your idea. You were talking about Codys Soul for weeks beforehand, and John Cena's soul. So, I mean, how can you then take a step back for this is what the entire feud's about, or at least what the entire John Cena heel turn was all about? Is that he sold his soul to The Rock for, as of yet, and maybe forever now, unknown reasons. But here's more of the quote. I called John and Cody after Elimination Chamber, and I said, I think the final boss work is done. Do you? Why do you think that? I'm sure Hawaii's lovely. I've never been. But the thing is that the merchandise department was making merch, t-shirts, promoting The Rock returning to Las Vegas. That was definitely on the creative cards. Or, if not officially, and they just took it upon their own, took it upon themselves, the merchandise department, to create these t-shirts, it was so obviously the right thing to do for The Rock to interfere in the main event of WrestleMania 41 that only a complete idiot would have thought that The Rock wouldn't have done. So let me continue. We just pulled off the greatest angle in wrestling history. No, but that it was great. But I mean, the greatest ever. No, I'm always here if you need me. But it's best for the final boss to not be involved in that finish, the finish of WrestleMania 41. It so was the wrong call to make. Once again, the fans were cheering Travis Scott. That's how bad it was, because they thought The Rock was going to come out after him. People thought that The Rock was going to come out after the finish, after John Cena pinned Cody Rhodes. That's how much belief the fans there and everybody watching at home, I'd wager, had in Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, the final boss, turning up on this show. I don't know why he didn't, or I don't know why I thought it was appropriate to not. And let me tell you, that killed that main event. Absolutely killed it stone dead. Who wants to see Travis Scott, a 130-pound sopping wet sack of shit? I mean, yeah, fine. I mean, Cody Rhodes reversed the slap thing and then, gave him the crossroads and everything like that. But he is nothing physically. It's embarrassing that he's even stood next to Cody or John or whatever. I don't care how many rap songs he's had or how many #1 hits he's had. He doesn't belong in there. I don't even care if he's training to wrestle, which I believe I've heard as well. But here's more quotes. They know when I come to them, Cody and John, and I lay this out, and here's how I really feel how it should go. We can insert the final boss into this finish, but where do we go? Well, where do we go now? I mean, all that's happened is now we didn't even see Cody on Raw, so we don't know how he's doing, but I'm sure he's doing absolutely fine. John Cena, well, he's just going with Randy Orton now, apparently, for a month, and then who knows who afterwards. All that is that it was a really, really good story they started, and then in the weeks after that, they seem to systematically ruin it. And I say I've got a feeling it's one person ruining it, and I think it's The Rock. And I think the reason, unless he's some terrible family emergency, or unless for some reason he's under house arrest and we don't know, there is no reason he shouldn't have just flown over to Vegas from Hawaii, or wherever he was, and been part of the main event. WWE were banking on it, and I'll tell you what, I said this a week ago in wherever I said it, that WWE are already I think WWE are going to struggle to sell tickets after WrestleMania. Maybe not struggle, but in the next year or so, I think things are going to come back to bite them, because WrestleMania, they didn't give what the people wanted and expected, and that's The Rock turning up. The tickets are unbelievably expensive, and if you buy front row, Steve Austin might kill you with his ATV as well. I'm going to give you more quotes. I can get involved, but why get involved in that finish when that should just be focused on John, 17-time champion, and what 2025 looks like? No, it isn't. That is the anchoring storyline. No, the Soul will get back to it. No, the Soul was the story. There's been 6 weeks of no Rock turning up or sending in videos or talking about John Cena's Soul or really explaining the heel turn. I've just got done recording with Dutch Mantel, and he just said, I can't buy John Cena as a heel the way he portrays it, because it seems almost like high school theatre, where he's just got the glum, I'm unhappy. None of it quite makes sense. And the only thing that was sort of helping it was that John Cena was aligning with The Rock, and really what was anchoring the story was the mystery of why. And now all we have is still the mystery of why, but instead of, we'll get the answer down the line, which we may still do when The Rock can be bothered turning up, what we're now getting is don't worry about that. Look over here, Randy Orton. You know, look at the monkey. Look at the silly monkey, kind of thing. I'm sure that's a South Park quote, but I don't get it. I mean, it wouldn't have taken much time out of The Rock's day to do that. All it's done is just created just Travis Scott on his own. I mean, somehow, somewhere, somebody thought that Travis Scott was a adequate substitute for The Rock. No one wanted to see him there, or none of the hardcores did. They all thought he was an idiot, and he looks stupid. You know, next to people who actually work out and have had more than a sandwich, you know, once a week, I guess. But ultimately, this video is about The Rock. The Rock ruined WrestleMania. And I don't know if he's just got something in his mind where he's genuinely trying to take a step back and not overshadow John Cena and Cody Rhodes. Guess what? That already happened. Or not even overshadow. But this was like Seth, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns. This was a 3-person feud. They were all interconnected. What if just, I don't know, CM Punk hadn't shown up, and then it wouldn't have been the same? Or, you know, Roman Reigns hadn't shown up. Well, you know, I'm not integral. You two deal with it. With Paul Heyman. Or what if Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman hadn't turned up, or Paul Heyman said, well, I'm not integral, just have this 3-way with absolutely no consequences whatsoever. That's sort of the same thing. I don't know once again, I don't know what The Rock is thinking. He's made a massive error of judgment. You can moan all you like, and I'm sure some people did. And actually, someone sent me a video of Dave LaGreca from Busted Open Radio doing a rant on how they've ruined Cody Rhodes. I don't think they've ruined Cody Rhodes at all. I think John Cena had to win. Cody had to lay down his belt and to make it all worthwhile and everything like that. I don't think they've ruined Cody at all. He can be rehabbed very, very easily. Ultimately, this could be the seed for a heel turn in the future, because I always think, and I think Stevie says this, Dutch says this as well, Cody's always come across quite heelish. I think it'd be a natural transition for him. I think it's a harder transition for John Cena, quite frankly. Someone else also said that the original creative was for John Cena to turn heel WrestleMania 41 instead of WWE Elimination Chamber. Would that have made things better? In hindsight, yes, I think it would have done. The build-up would have been more boring, but quite frankly, there was only 3-week build and 6 weeks of TV getting there, really. So I don't think the build-up was that good either. And I know a lot of people praise Cody Rhodes and John Cena the first week on Raw, and I guess of dissenting voices of people who've got a platform, I was one of the few, as was Stevie, actually. Stevie Richards. If you don't know, I've got a podcast or show with Stevie Richards. He would be very upset if I called it a podcast, by the way. But the fact is that, once again, I just can't harp on this point enough. It wasn't Cena. Yeah, he looked rusty, I guess. But his hair transplant's kicking in. I hadn't realised he had a hair transplant. I just thought it was some judicious combing. Or you know, or spray paint or something, but it looks really good. But here's the thing, is you can argue about the quality of the match, but it's the quality of the finish that really ruined the quality of the match, and dare I say, the quality of the show, and both shows, ultimately, because that's the main event. The other one isn't the main event, Roman, Punk, and Seth. That was the main event, and that will have knocked it down 2 or 3 notches in everybody's mind with just such an unfulfilling finish. If it was The Rock doing it, if they hadn't done such a horrible ref bump at the end with Chad Patton, you know, acting like he's dead from what is the most minor of collisions. I mean, it's like having you know, when you're like 8 and your baby brother like jumps on your chest when they're like 2. It's like, ugh, and then just carry on with your day. And then, you know, Chad Patton dies again from Travis Scott gently yanking him out of the ring. In fairness, though, that did tear Rey Mysterio's groin, that exact move. So you never know, it might have torn Chad Patton's consciousness somehow, and it just went out for a few minutes. And also, where was Charles Robinson here? We know he was there. Do you remember that WrestleMania some years ago when, like, the original referee goes down, then Charles Robinson sprints to the ring? He can still move. He could have cartwheeled down there. He could probably still do a cartwheel at his age. There's so many questions, so unfulfilling creative. But do you know what? Even if you ignore the referee nonsense, if you ignore that John Cena is, of course, he's going to be a bit rusty, and if you didn't like a basic match, well, I do like a basic match, and I just like, you know, the crowd did most of the work. You don't need to do anymore. That's up to you. But ultimately, what ruined it is The Rock not turning up and Travis Scott turning up in his place. It killed it. And then you've got the stupid belt shot which is fine, I guess, a ball shot and a belt shot kind of thing. But I mean, he kicked out of a million attitude adjustments beforehand. Anyway, that's my piece. Ultimately, I just wanted to watch McAfee show to see what he'd say, and basically he's just begged out of it, saying he wasn't needed. He was needed more than ever. The Rock is, according to him as well, he's the person who has ruined WrestleMania 41. So there you go. That's my opinion on it. You tell me if you agree, and I'll catch you for the next video.